It is July 17th, 2017. We're kicking things off with our first video on river surfing competition. And with us here today, we have Gerwin, Andreas from Delight Alliance, and Max Neuböck from New Art Surf Stuff. Hey guys, thanks for being on the show.
Hey, no problem.
So just to get things started, if Gerwin, you just want to go first and introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about competition in river surfing.
Oh yeah, I'm Gerwin. I'm shaping surfboards here in Austria. Completely landlocked, where you don't have any shapers around, or not many shapers around. Competition in Austria. We had the Austrian Championships last year. That was, yeah, since ages the first Austrian Championships. Before, Max was always doing the Crown of the Drown. Really cool contest on an open river wave, and yeah, I was being judged now for 3 years, I think so. And yeah, it's fun.
Cool. What about you, Max?
Hey guys, I'm Max. I'm founder and president of the Rivermate Surf Club in Austria, and also founder and owner of New Art Surf Stuff, a surf shop in the middle of the Alps. And up to now, I've organized 4 river surfing competitions, what Gerwin already mentioned, the Crown of the Drown in the Salzkammergut, and last year, the Austrian Championships in Vienna. Yeah.
Cool. Thanks for the intro, guys. So we've been kind of collecting some questions from the community here. We have an organizing board for Slam the Can this year. We've done Slam the Can. This will be our 12th year doing the surf event out there, but we haven't done a competition every year. We started with competition in the early years, and then we kind of lost our waves. So we've done some wave construction out there to get a competition-ready wave. And with 2014 building the mountain, we've been running competitions at Slam the Can since then. So first off, I'm just interested about what you guys think about wave quality, and is there a certain level of a standard that you would need for a wave to have to hold a competition in your river surfing community? What do you guys think?
Yeah, I definitely think so, that you have to have a good quality wave. It makes it a lot easier, especially from the judges' point of view. If you have a wave and the riders are so limited what they can do, and they can't really show their full potential, then it's so extremely hard to judge. So I think you need to be able to show something on the wave, and therefore the wave has to be some kind of good wave.
And so Max, doing that Crown of the Drown, it's on your guys' wave. You've called it Pipeline, is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
And now you're actually building a wave. Will that be competition ready, I think? Tell us
yeah, we are planning to build a wave, and hopefully we can soon serve it. And yeah, it will definitely be a good quality wave, and the quality will allow us that we can do contests on the wave. Regarding the 3 contests we already had on Pipeline, it's like at Pipeline it's depending on the water level. Yeah, so during the first 3 years, it was always really difficult to make the decision if we have the competition or if we don't have it. And in the first year, we had the competition on the date we first set, and the second year we moved the competition to another weekend. This year we also had it on the date we set before. The thing is, it's, as Gerwin said, you really need a good quality wave to make a contest. And this year we said, okay, we're not going to move the event to another weekend, because if you move an event, it's really hard to reorganize it to get the people there again. And if you keep it at the date you communicate, it's much easier to get the people there. And but then you have the problem that what do you do if the wave is not working? So what we're communicating to the people is that, hey, we're having the Crown of the Drown at that weekend of May, for example, And if the wave is not good enough, we're just having a river surf jam, and the prize money or the prizes will be given out to the community in another way and not via the competition.
So what would that look like if it's not sort of a highly competitive? Is it just kind of a fun free-for-all?
I mean, if pipeline is working on a proper water level, it's definitely a competition wave, because you can show quite a lot of things. Maybe not so much tricks, but quite a lot of surf style and reading the wave and using the face of the wave. So that's for sure. But if the water level is not high enough, it's really, really tricky to make a normal competition. And in the end, if you do it at the water level that is not good enough, it's also not fair for all the competitors.
I agree with Max, because the thing is, as I said before, it's almost impossible to judge, because then there's no tricks. No one's going to show any tricks. So the only thing they can do is ride, or the only thing. I think it's a very important thing. But then you judge the style, and every judge has a bit of a preference towards style, what he likes. I think what we always are trying to, or what we should do as judges, is that we should look for proper technique, but there should also be a minimal scale for style. But then your whole range is all about the technique of the surfer, how he is riding. You can't show any tricks or anything, and then I think it's not fair for anyone, because we're all not professional judges, and someone is gonna get upset because he has the wrong ranking.
Yeah, that tends to happen pretty much everywhere in every sport that has a competition. I'd really love to go through sort of what you guys look for as judges, like how you're setting that up. But just to kind of add some context, can we go through really quick just a basic format of how things are set up? Talk about a heat structure, how many judges there are, sort of those kinds of things, what you guys have learned, what you're using now, and what you find is most effective?
So from my experience, after organizing 4 river surfing events, you have to communicate very clear what do you judge. So as we are at an open river, it's pretty hard, or it can be pretty hard to get into the wave. So getting into the wave is one big amount of the points. Then we have how you use the face of the wave. The face at the pipeline, for example, is you can either surf the best part of the wave, but then you're not surfing the whole wave, because there's so many parts that are tricky to surf, tricky to get there, tricky to get back. So if you use the whole face, that's really important for us and for the judges. Then of course you have style, so how fluid and how controlled the surfer can surf the wave, how many tricks and how they are performed, and of course the variety. So if a surfer just does tricks or is just surfing, then it's not him, or he won't get so many points as if he shows tricks and surfs as well. I think Gerwin, I also talked with Gerwin before the contest, and I think that's a pretty good and a pretty fair format how to judge surfers.
Yeah, I think so too. We were kind of doing the WSL judging criteria. We kind of tried to take them to the river, which doesn't 100% work, but it worked good enough. In the winter, we tried to do a new judging manual, do things a little bit different, but unfortunately, it's not the only thing we do. So we started it, but we didn't finish it. But we pointed out some judging criteria like surfing time, as Max said, the style, the use of the wave, and there's sometimes not only pipeline. There's different sections of waves, and is the surfer really using everything? Then style, is he using a classical river surfing style, which comes more from skateboarding, or is he using more of an ocean-based style? But then, therefore, that leaves room for discussion. What do we want to see? Do we want to see the river surfing style, or do we just say, okay, we want to have the ocean surfing style, that's all we want to see. And also speed, technique, how the turns are done. And then we said another criteria should be tricks and maneuvers, like airs, ollie, all kind of rotations. Yeah, some people do grabs, flips, but also sprays. As Max said, pipeline, you can either enter with a rope or you can do the takeoff. Takeoff obviously way more advanced, so should be rewarded better. And then also drop in and bottom turn. Some waves allow to do a proper bottom turn, and I think if you do that, you show that you have control over the wave and the surfboard, and then you should be rewarded for that.
So
it's just working. We just have a lot of ideas with those criteria, but nothing is set yet. We've just kind of written them down, and that's it.
So what that makes me think of is just kind of the way that you talk about it. It's very important as judges and river surf event organizers to look almost into the future of saying, what do we want river surfing to look like? Does it look more like an ocean style surf, or does it look more like a progressive kind of skateboard trick infused mashup of technique? Can you guys give me an idea of like what a perfect 10-point run, perfect score? What does a ride like that look like for you guys?
I think it depends really on the wave, so you can't really say that's how a 10-point ride should look like. And I think there should be kind of two ways how you get a 10-point ride. Well, that's the idea we had. That first of all, the wave. Some waves allow they're more trick based. So if you do a trick, then obviously a trick is not as you don't get as many points for a trick as you would do on other waves. For example, a pipeline is not the best wave for doing tricks. So if you would do a reverse 360 there, it would obviously be near a 10-point ride, or maybe you do 2 or 3 say 2 different reverses or something like that, and that would be a 10-point ride. But if you would do the same thing on a city wave, for example, where a 360 is you can do it. It's not like out of the world. Then I don't think it should be a 10-point ride. Then a 10-point ride has to have everything, like from bottom turn to reverse, maybe a shove it or something like that. But I think that only is the topping. What there always must be is a good demonstration of turning technique and stuff like that. So I think if the technique is not properly, then you can't give them a 10-point ride. But on the other hand, maybe not a 10-point ride, but a good 8-point ride could be without doing any tricks. I think there should be also be able to do 8-point ride just with proper technique and fluid rhythmic motions and everything. I think that's how it should be. But Max, what do you think?
Yeah, I think as you just said, it's like there is not the perfect 10-point ride. Yeah, if you compare the city wave and pipeline, they're so different that you can't have one ride where you can also get 10 points at the city wave and 10 points at pipeline, because pipeline is so much more focused on surfing and technique, and city wave is more focused on tricks. So how much points you get should also be depending on what wave you are surfing. Yeah, I'm definitely with you.
I think
to sort of like be a little bit more specific, maybe we can talk about city wave and kind of pump waves in a bit, but for Crown of the Trown, like on the pipeline wave, can you give us an example? Like, what was the winning ride? Like, what took the cake like this year or at the Austrian championships this year?
So the winning ride was, I think, something around the 9 or so, and it was a 360 front side, 360 backside, yeah, some nice snaps, some nice sprays, and also some nice bottom turns, yeah, because pipeline, for example, is a wave you can really do good bottom turns, yeah, and that's what the judges wanted to see. And what is also really important, especially at pipeline, was the entry. So the entry this year was, I think, either an acid drop or takeoff. So takeoff immediately a 360 front side, I think, then some stylish surfing, yeah, some bottom turns, some carves, another 360, but backside this time, and some nice sprays and snaps in the end. That's basically how a 10-point ride looks at the pipeline.
Cool. How do you guys judge style? Or like when you say spray, like is spray a technique or a move the same way a 360 would be?
Spray is, of course, surf style, yeah. So we define surf style as how fluid and how controlled the wave can be surfed. And that's where the spray comes into, yeah. And of course, it's also a part of how you use the face of the wave, because the further up you make the turn for the snap, for the spray, the more spray will go to the riverbank. So that's also a big part of the spray, yeah.
We divided it into two sprays. There's the classical layback spray, especially on the high-powered waves where you have a lot of speed, a lot of water speed. We call it the layback spray, where kind of your back is in the water and you're doing one massive spray. We counted this one as a trick, but then we had the maneuvers, where, for example, drop in or take off, bottom turns, technique, speed, all that kind of stuff counts, but also the general sprays counts. You have surfers who tend to spray a lot more than others, like only when they're riding, and yeah, you should be rewarded for big sprays.
Yeah, I think when we look at what we want to see in river surfing, spray is that's all I want to do. Like that's what I want to see. But so I'm just trying to get a good sense of, you know, for people watching this video, I think we're coming from two sides. Some people are looking to judge or to host their own river surfing competition and help their volunteers, whether they're judging or whatever it is. And then we also have athletes who are looking forward to competing in these events and progressing the sport of river surfing and seeing where we can go. So trying to get a good sense of, if I'm an athlete training for an upcoming competition, like what do you guys suggest for athletes when they're training? Like how important is it to incorporate surf style, and like which maneuvers are worth the most points, more or less?
Big spin. Big spin. We decided is the is one of the highest scored points. Then also, of course, the shove it.
Talk me through big spin. That's you're actually leaving the face. Yeah.
Sorry. Like
the big spin is when you're leaving the face, like you're going off the wave to do your 360 in the air.
Max?
What's a big spin, Max?
Big spin is a 360 shove it with a 180 degrees upper body rotation. So you land on the board in a switch stance, and yeah, the board leaves the water, obviously. Otherwise, you can't really do the shove it.
Okay.
So the shove it on the river is mostly, yeah, it's a 100 degree shove it, but obviously you can't ride switch for long, so you spin it out similar to the 360s. To the air reverses, like backside, frontside air reverse. You also land reverse and then spin into the wave again. And this is a shove it, like it's done normally, but with 180 degrees body rotation, which is very difficult. And I think Gary can do it, but I haven't seen many people doing that stuff. That would be, for example, yeah, one of the highest scoring tricks, I think. Thanks.
Definitely, like the big spin. The big spin is definitely up to now the trick where you can get the most points out of it. Maybe there would also be the sushi roll or the kickflip, but nobody landed it ever. So I'm not so sure about that. But
yeah, kick landed.
Oh yeah, the kickflip has been landed, but not in competition so far.
Not in a competition.
Yeah.
No. It has been landed in a competition. The European Championship, I think. I remember 2 years ago or 3 years ago.
So?
Yeah, I think Gary landed a big. I'm not 100% certain.
Oh yeah, the big spin, yeah, but the kickflip, not. Yeah. So for athletes who are competing at a wave or at a contest, look at the rule book. Yeah, the rule book says you what the judges are judging. For example, in our rule book, we definitely write that for the entrance into the wave, you can get up to 1.5 points, depending on how you get into the wave, like either by rope or dropping in or takeoff. And then, of course, how this is, how stylish this is, and how controlled this can be done. And the second wave, the second important thing in my eyes is look at videos online, how is the wave, and then you know what the judge, or like you approximately know what the judges really want to see. Do they more want to see surf style, or do they more want to see some tricks? Yeah, and what is more important to them?
Yeah, I think that it's really important that you have a proper technique before you start doing tricks in it. Or I mean, you can start doing tricks, no problem, but I think the base should be there, and it's really, really, really important that you have some kind of technique. If that technique is more of a river surfer, it doesn't matter, or it's a proper ocean style, that doesn't matter. But that's the style. I think technique you still should have, and
yeah,
I think it's a must for doing well in any competition, that you know how to do your turns and everything. And you can obviously go train, film yourself, and watch that. There's also some kind of skateboards you can use, and I think that's a really good training tool on land. And yeah, definitely helps a lot. And yeah.
Cool. So I do want to talk a little bit about City Wave, but just before we move on from like judging and scoring and that kind of criteria. So in ocean surfing, like the WSL, I don't watch it as much as some of the other river surfers, but my understanding is like if you have the perfect wave selection, paddle into the right wave, and you just get this monster barrel, and you just flow through the barrel, perfect style, and you come out, you can get a 10-point run. And there's of course this takes technique and skill to drop into a barrel like that. What's that?
I think it sounds easy to do.
Oh yeah. It sounds. I'm not saying that it's that there's no technique there, but where I'm going with my question before we move on is just that would there be a way in a river surfing competition to just have a really smooth, beautiful style run with no techniques, not throwing any shove-its or anything, and be a solid contender? Like, could you win a competition without throwing a trick like a big spin?
Yeah. I would definitely say so. I think that's really important, that you have the possibility to only with your proper technique and really cool style and riding the wave really nicely, that you can win a competition without any 360 or without any 360s or anything like that. The proper out of the trick section. If you can get a 10-point ride, that's up for discussion. Without any tricks, I think in river surfing it's different. Yeah, I think we have to mix a bit of both. So a 10-point ride without a trick, I don't think that should be possible. But I definitely think an 8-point or 8.5 should be possible only by riding and with having a nice style and showing that you can surf.
Yeah, definitely. I also think so that you can win the competition. You might not get a 10-point ride, but where you can get a 10-point ride only by using style and technique is Tube Stake and the Zambezi River.
where there's a barrel.
Yeah, exactly.
To a monster barrel, get pitted. That's your 10-point run.
Exactly. But on every other wave, I think you need to show some tricks to get 10 points.
Okay. Yeah. I think that's a really good perspective of where we see river surfing going. I'd like to see more tricks like sushi roll. Come on, guys, let's work together. Let's get this. But I really don't want to see us lose the ocean style. I think even skateboarding has they've done a good job of still keeping a lot of style and flow within their maneuvers. It's not super technical, and it's important for us to value that. With City Wave, and I'd love to chat a little bit about the European Championships and how that all started and everything like that. But I remember, I think it was 2012, like their first year, I saw a video of, and I think it might have been Flory, but I'm not sure. They went up on like the side and actually like rock and rolled into the wave. Like it's like they hit the coping of the city.
Yeah.
I know you mean. He's a Swiss guy. He was at the.
It wasn't one of the Foos guys. It was a Swiss guy.
Yeah,
exactly.
And then I asked Max about it because I was like, "Oh, am I going to see more of this?" When I was there, and so they eliminated this from the rules. Talk to me about this. What's going on here?
I don't know what they did with the judging with that. If they really want to see it, I think it's kind of cool. But on the other hand, we want to see tricks or surfing on the wave, not off the wave. So I think there's some tricks which tend to have a little bit less style than others, and yeah, they're open for discussion if they really should be as highly ranked as difficult they are. There's not this is one of them, but I think there's more where I personally think I wouldn't judge it that high because it's not really what we want to see.
Max, did they actually eliminate it from the rules? Like I remember you saying something like if you touch the wall, like your run is not good. Like they don't score it.
Well, yeah. So if you touch the wall, it's not good for the judging for your run. However, I don't know if this really counts as judging as touching the wall. So they did not really eliminate it, but I think nobody really does it because it's not so important for the judges. That's basically the way why I think that nobody else is showing it beside this Swiss guy. I think the trick is really cool and it's really rock and roll, and it's really funny to watch it. But yeah, I think for the judges it's not so important. Yeah.
Okay, I thought it was like it actually was eliminated from the judging. They're saying that like in the rules you can't touch the wall. That makes me feel better because if someone were to go up and then kick flip off and then back in the wave, would that score high?
That would definitely score high.
Yeah, let's start working.
Yeah.
At least a pipeline.
So tell me more about the European Championships as sort of this event that brings so many different communities together. What's that like?
Yeah, it's always quite cool. It's the competition of the year because everyone goes there, like the whole Europe goes there, or all river surfing Europe goes there, and you all meet on the park deck, and everyone is camping out on the park deck, and yeah, go skateboarding in the middle of the night down the park deck, and oh yeah, we never did that.
Never.
Yeah. No. So it was always in Munich Airport, which is a huge airport. It never sleeps, and there's a big grocery shopping store there, so you can buy beer and whatever you need. There's a McDonald's there. You can eat quick food whenever you want, and
chicken McNuggets.
Watch the wave, and yeah. At the beginning, all the communities are like separated a little bit, and then at the end they're all just mixed together, and everyone's drinking beer together, and yeah, it was a really cool event. But unfortunately, this year they changed the format a bit. They changed it from one event to like one single European Championship to I think they want to do
four
more.
stops.
Yeah, so France, Switzerland, Germany and Austria or something like that, and they want to have a competition in each country, and then it's like kind of a contest series, which in a way it's cool, but I think a contest series always on the same wave, and City Wave is always the same wave. Yeah, I think it would be cooler if you would involve Max's contest, for example, into a contest series like that. You have different kind of waves, and then you can really see who is the best surfer. Yeah, not who is the best city wave surfer, who is the best river surfer in general, because
who is the best overall surfer?
Overall surfer. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. How about just like the general attitude though? With so for some of the river surfers out there who are considering putting on river surf competition in their community, there's some hesitation there. There's questions about, if we do a competition, will this affect the community? As you guys know, river surfing is very inclusive, very welcoming. Everyone's taking their turn on the wave. Like, there's some really great routes here in the river that aren't necessarily reflective of this locals only attitude. Do you think that moving in the direction of competition with the European Championships, have you seen that? Has there been more of an edge or crustiness that comes from that, or is it still true to the roots of river surfing?
It's a hard question. You can't generalize that, I think.
Yeah.
For Europe, I think it was good because, yeah, the Swiss guys, you don't really know them. You get to know them at the European Championship, and then, yeah, one day you drive to Switzerland and visit them, go surfing with them, and they show you, maybe they show you one of their waves, and when they come to Austria, we show them one of our waves. So I think it's all brings it a bit together and stuff, and the composition itself. It always depends how you do it. I think if you do it with camping, like we did it with the European Championship, and so everyone can join, and it's just one big family and one big party. That's not the competition, which is the most important thing about that. I mean, the first few years we always went there. We knew that we're not going to survive the qualification because the Munich guys, they're ridiculously good. We just went there so we can surf the wave. Because there wasn't really any other chance to surf the wave, so we just entered the European Championship.
So I think if you cannot talk about how competition at river surfing contests affects the community when just taking a look to the European Championships. Yeah, the European Championships are like, in the meantime, they've become a really, really professional contest with really professional surfers, and the level is really, really high there. So of course there's quite a lot of competition. I mean, it's about quite a lot of money, and maybe there are some people or some communities or some groups who are at the European Championships that might be a bit rivalry, and where there might be some bad vibes. But I think overall the European Championships have been really, really good for the community all over Europe. Yeah. And if you take a closer look to our contest at Pipeline, that's the meeting point for the Austrian river surfing community. Yeah. And I've been to Skookumjak some years ago, and we've met one kayaker there, and he said that competitions are good and competitions are nice, but always keep in mind that the party needs to be more important than the competition. And I think that's really true, because it's nice to compete against others, to know how good you can surf and how good the others are. And it's also good to reward a really good surfer for that he can surf really good. But in the end, I think throwing a competition is more about having a party, connecting people, bringing the communities together, and having a good time with each other.
I think that's got to be like the quote of the conversation, Max. Make sure the party is good or better than the competition.
Yeah, definitely.
Most important thing.
Yeah.
I think, like in every other sport, if you look at skateboarding or snowboarding, there's those competition guys, and they love to compete, and then there's those guys who say, I don't really want to compete. I don't need to measure myself with others. I'm doing video parts, or I'm just surfing waves because I want to, and I don't need to show myself to the world. And yeah, I think everyone, all of those groups, they have the right to be there. So I think competition on one hand has the right to be there, and if you want to do a competition, why not? And on the other hand, if someone just wants to surf and do pictures and or do nothing, just surf for himself, and yeah, then that's also fine. I don't think that anyone can say that that's not cool or anything.
Yeah, of course.
And about it, and if you like it, then it's perfect for you.
And I think what's really important, especially for river surfers, at the stage of where river surfing is now, it's really important to keep in mind, what do we want? We want to go surfing on the river. We want to, if possible, build new waves and find new waves that we can surf on the river at more days per year. And as our sport is still so small, yeah, I think there is no real space for rivalry. Yeah, there's no space for negative competition, because negative competition, rivalries are not good for our communities, and our communities are still so small that we have to be really, really careful with them.
I would agree with Max, but unfortunately it happens. And I think,
yeah, of course, yeah,
it's even worse with ocean surfing, and it's the same with powder riding. You don't really want someone to track your home line and stuff, and yeah, I think you will always have it, but yeah,
Is there something?
It's the way we deal with it. If we let it come up and be a big thing, or if we, yeah, I think certain things should be done, and certain things, I think there's kind of a codex, and if you stick to the codex, then yeah, then there's no need for rivalry.
But is there a way that rivalry could be done in a way that's not detrimental to the sport, like things like having respect between different communities, or you know, is there things that, like, where it's like breaking the rules of river surfing, like say exposing a secret wave or something like that? Like, would that be?
I think with that exposing a wave, that's a very delicate matter, and I think it depends how you expose it, because we all like to take pictures of us surfing, or most of us do, and as our society is now, we like to post them on Facebook, Instagram, and stuff like that. Instagram stories, Facebook stories, whatever. But I think if you follow some rules, or some, not rules, we don't even have to call them rules. We have to call them guidelines or something. I think you stick to some of those guidelines. For example, that you don't post it instantly, so no one knows the water level, or that you don't hashtag where exactly it is and stuff. Then I think it should be fine, and I think everyone should take those pictures, because that's part of surfing, and yeah, we want to share with our friends where we have been and stuff, and everything goes viral, of course. But yeah, I think if you keep the secret of where it is, and what level does it need, and what day exactly you were there, or day and hour, then it should be fine to post stuff, and then it also should be fine to post a secret wave.
Hello, Italia. So this year for Slam the Can, this is the first year we're trying to do, like, this is our first year of the North American Championships. So it is inspired by the European Championships. But when we set out to do the planning for this, we started planning this in September last year. We said two things that we wanted to be different from the European Championships. One was that we wanted on a real river wave, not an indoor wave. And then two, the idea is to travel and have the North American Championships not live in the Kananaskis by any means, but go from community to community in North America. Do you guys have any advice for the surfers here in North America who are looking to kind of progress the sport in the same way that you have done in Europe. Is there anything that you guys learned along the way where you're thinking, oh, maybe we could have done it differently if we were to start it all over again? Or those two items that we thought that we'd like to add to our championships, can you speak to that or anything like that?
Yeah, I think surfing in Europe has been there for a very long time, especially in Munich. From my point of view, I think I can't really say anything. Yeah,
it's like, I mean, it's hard to tell you from like in that moment right now what is important for you to add at your competition series, because of course I would need to think a bit about it, and I would like to be there to give you some feedback. But what I really like is that you are moving from community to community. Yeah. First of all, because then every community can say, well, we are hosting the North American Championships this year. Then the party will be different every year, yeah, and not the same way. So you can meet different people and different pubs and drink different sorts of beer. And I think what is also really nice about that is what we already talked before. The best surfer in North America is not the one who wins at the Kananaskis. The best river surfer in North America is the one who wins in Kananaskis this year, at Lunch Counter next year, in Boise in 2 years, and in Bend and where else, yeah? Because if you have different river surfers winning at each spot, then it's like, well, there is not the one. There's not the best one. There are really many good ones. Yeah, the one.
I completely.
Yeah,
we need the one.
You won.
Yeah. So I really like that quite a lot, and I'm really interested in how this is going to develop over the next years.
You want to come here and win it, don't you?
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely.
Citizen card.
But the prize money needs to be high enough. So
you can pay for the flight. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Work on it.
Perfect.
Well, that's great, guys. Like, that's kind of all the questions that have been sort of gathered for this style of an interview. Is there anything else that you guys want to add, or anything now that you have kind of river surfers around the world watching you? I can see the viewer count down in the bottom right there. Hey guys, that's a huge number there.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
I can't see.
If you have anything to say to all the viewers out there, now's a chance.
Well, there's one thing. Always keep the party more important than the contest. Hell yeah. Yeah.
Surf as many rivers as you can. Waves in general.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right on. Well, I think that's kind of going to be our sign off then. So we do have some more Slam Festival events this week and some more Slam Summit today. We have some live interviews going on at one of our venues this evening. We're going to be talking about jet skis on river waves, about river surfing films, and river surfing festivals. So, yeah, see you guys at the other events. Max, you want to sign off?
Yeah, it was nice to meet you, and have a good week and good party.
Thanks, Max.
Bye. See you.
Bye-bye. Thanks.
See you guys.
See ya.